I'm a Turkish coffee drinker.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Okay. It doesn't mean we're live yet, is it?
It says live here, Facebook Live. Meeting is.
Welcome to Ensemble Academy of Music and the Arts, and we are live on Facebook and sending you greetings from New York City. Today, we have a special program focusing on a teacher and a student subject featuring Professor Sheila Browne, Viola, and two of her students, Rosa, Ortega, Iannelli, and Daniel Guevara. Welcome, you guys, and such great pleasure having you. Say hi.
Hi, thank you for having us, Vera.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Great to be on.
Great. We will feature our guest performance videos, picture gallery, and a dialogue in just a moment. But first, we have a couple of announcements. We had a blast on March 12th at Symphony Space in New York City, presenting over 80 students, some in gifted and talented recitals, plus 5th Ensemble Youth International Competition winners recitals. Our next live broadcast is scheduled for March 26, featuring first prize winners in chamber music category from our competition, which is a string quartet. And stay tuned for more details as we announce them sometime next week. We are arranging for multiple student recitals this spring to take place in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, New Jersey, and Rockland. And we'll also be posting all that information in our newsletter. Our spring enrollment is ongoing with various offerings in music instruments and theater, and we are actively connecting with multiple school sites and after-school programs throughout New York and New Jersey to continue with our mission of implementation of enrichment group classes. And that's about it. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, TikTok, and other social media platforms. Comment and post any questions, and subscribe to our 2 e-newsletters that you could find at our website, ensembleacademy.org. It's on the homepage. Scroll down to the right. The first newsletter is called Academy Newsletter, and the second one is called On Stage. This way you know about upcoming events like this one, about anything happening in the Academy with our students and our guests. We hope you enjoy our program today. Wonderful. Can we please have Sheila's profile picture on a screen as I go through her bio and accolades, please? Beautiful. I love this picture. And I wanted to mention that myself and Sheila went to Juilliard together, and we were peers throughout our bachelor degree at the same time. So we are old pals, I guess, reconnecting now after 30 years.
I thought you weren't going to say that, Vera.
You were wrong. Okay, well, Sheila Browne is internationally recognized concert violist. She has performed in major venues on 6 continents, including Lincoln Center, Carnegie Hall, Kennedy Center, Concertbau, Royal Festival Hall, Teatro Cologne, and many others. She has recorded with major recording label companies. Browne was violist of the internationally prize-winning Ariana String Quartet, as well as the Pellegrini and Gotham Quartets. Additionally, she is a founding member of the Fire Pink Trio. Browne has collaborated with many wonderful artists like Audra McDonald, Gilbert Kalish, David Krakauer, and many others. She was selected by artistic director Michael Tilson Thomas to be featured in the PBS documentary Beethoven Alive. For 2 years, she was co-principal of New York String Seminar, was awarded solo residency at the BEM Center, and participated in multiple music festivals. Sheila is also a dedicated teacher who believes in holistic approach and has given viola and chamber music master classes at most major music schools in the US, such as Juilliard, Eastman, Cleveland Institute, and many others. She was the teaching assistant of the famed pedagogue Karen Tuttle at Juilliard while receiving her bachelor degree, and continued her off-bow studies with Kim Kashkashian, I hope I said that right, in Germany after being awarded a German academic exchange service. She continued with her Master of Music at Rice University with Karen Richter and Paul Katz in his quartet program. Browne was honored to be chosen as the inaugural viola faculty at the Tianjin Juilliard School, graduate and pre-college programs, and Tianjin Juilliard Ensemble, performing and giving master classes in 16 countries on 4 continents. She also served as Associate Professor of Viola at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts, where she taught for a decade, University of Delaware, University of Tennessee, as well as part-time at Duke University and New York University. And she currently is Associate Professor of Viola at Lynn Conservatory. Chosen as faculty for the founding year of National Youth Orchestra of Iraq. She was the first viola professor ever to give a master class in Iraqi Kurdistan. We're gonna post the full bio, but I just want to close that Sheila is from Philadelphia, and she also holds Irish citizenship, and she is a huge art, nature, and animal lover, and believes in the power of music to bring people of all cultures together in peace around the world. How beautiful. And we're going to feature next Sheila's first video, which is Clark Sonata for viola and piano. Take a listen. Absolutely beautiful. Sheila, welcome. So nice having you today. And we're gonna jump right into our questions dialogue
Hey,
section. And so we prepared some questions, and we're going to have a personal conversation with Sheila on teaching, on music, on her passions, etc. So question number one, what do you feel your role is as a mentor and teacher to your students?
well, my teachers did so much for me. I just want to try and do half for my students, at least, of what they did for me. Since we need to talk and to play in order to communicate the information, right? We can't read this out of a book. It's very important that we pass it down generation to generation. And so for me, that's a calling, right? Because all I can do is just try and give back. And I mean, I get a lot out of teaching. I love to play, and it keeps me honest with myself, if I can demonstrate what I want my students to do, and love to play recitals and champion the viola solo repertoire, because in America, there's not a whole lot of support for that body of repertoire, which is actually so beautiful and bigger than people realize. So these are some of my many missions with students. I mean, I also want them to be comfortable playing the instrument. It's very difficult to play the viola. It's one of the hardest instruments to play. And I just come from a whole pedagogical school, starting with Karen Tuttle, and before her, even William Primrose, when she was his teaching assistant at Curtis, where comfort and ease with the instrument was paramount. So those are a few of my agendas.
Wonderful. Any stories you'd like to share? Whether it's you teaching or whether it's you being a student, anything at all.
I guess I could share the story of the first studio class I had at Juilliard with Karen Tuttle, where I played. And, we had a very big class. We had like 17 students at that time. And as a little freshman, I think I went in and played like Schrodiak or something like this. And I could play. I mean, I got into Juilliard, but I was very tight. I was a very tight player. I didn't care how I did it. I just made it happen. And basically the scales fell from my eyes, as they say, in my first lesson, when Karen Tuttle just basically, didn't tear me apart, but she just went through such a long list of all these different physical things that I was doing that made me like work against myself rather than working biomechanically correctly and in a more intelligent fashion. So the very first studio class where I played, she had me play something very simple. And then she had every single student go around and give me a different comment of something that I was going to be fixing within the next, 6 months or 4 years or for the rest of my life, basically. But sometimes I tell my students that story and they're sort of horrified, like, oh my gosh, that's just so mean. But for me, I was like euphoric. I was really over the moon because I felt like there were things in my playing I couldn't do. I didn't know how to do them. I didn't know how to get better in certain areas. And I very quickly realized that Karen Tuttle knew inside and out how to fix like so much of the challenges that we have on the instrument. And the fact that she was also teaching it to all of her students was very important. Every single person in that room could go around and give me good information that I could use, not just like, oh, you sound really good and that's nice. It was like very concrete information that was given in a constructively critical way that I still use every day. So for me, that was a huge turning point, because I started to develop consciousness as to how I was going to play the instrument.
Right. And so as you started teaching, when was that about? When was like your first experience having students?
Yeah, well, like during my first year at Juilliard, Karen Tuttle made me her official teaching assistant. And I was the first person and probably the last and the only person who ever got paid for that position at Juilliard, you know, while she would do this in her studio. Carol Rodland also was there at that time, who is now teaching at Juilliard. And she likes to brag that, you know, she helped fix my bow arm because she was also in that situation where Karen Tuttle would, you know, have some of her certain students like teach the others. And she knew it was great for us because we would learn, we would have to sit down and really think about how we were presenting the material and so on. And then it was just also great for the students because they were getting extra lessons, you know, they were getting like time in between their lessons with Karen Tuttle to reinforce what they were learning in their lessons with her. So I started at a very early age. And I mean, I just loved it from the beginning. I mean, I immediately saw the value in it, and it just always like inspired me to, yeah, to continue it on that path of pedagogy.
How has it evolved? Did it evolve, if anything has changed in your attitude or thinking about it, your pedagogical style?
I think I try to be a little more circumspect about how I present the material. I think I used to be perhaps overly, I mean, I'm a very energetic person, and I feel like, you know, I'm better at reading people's energies in the studio, so I don't like overwhelm people with too much information as much as I used to. That's probably the biggest thing. And I would like to think I am more patient than I used to be in terms of getting students to change, you know, like fundamental habits that are going to affect every single note that they play. It really is a lifelong process that we recognize, but it's important just to like meet each student individually where they are in their own path. And of course, every one of us is different, and just to respect those differences and to be understanding and supportive is just something that I feel like, you know, you have to be constantly evolving, because every single human being on this planet is going to come to the table with different stuff.
Great.
So,
next question. If you could rewind your life, what would you have done differently, if anything? Doesn't have to be regarding viola, could be anything.
Yeah, you know, that's a really hard question. I mean, I don't really know what I'd be doing if I didn't play the viola. I mean, it's not that I don't have other interests or other passions. I do. I'd probably be a farmer is what I would be, you know, because I love nature. I love being outside. I absolutely adore animals. Like when I lived in North Carolina, I had a mini farm, and I had a mini Vietnamese potbelly pig. I had 2 goats. I had 2 dogs. I had 17 chickens. Like I really loved that lifestyle. So for me, being outdoors is, I mean, that's the sucky thing about music, is that we spend all day indoors, you know, as far as I'm concerned. Although down here,
you could play viola on a farm.
Yeah, you
play viola
right.
on a farm.
Yeah, and people do play for animals. You know, there's all this stuff on YouTube now, which is really cool, because like cows and stuff, like there are certain animals that really react to music. On the other hand, my dog just falls asleep when I take out the viola, but you know, other animals are much more open. So I guess that's one thing. I mean, I started viola at 10 in the public school. You know, I just picked it because I thought the name was beautiful and captivating, and everyone else was playing violin, and I wasn't that into what everyone else was doing. I always was doing my own thing. So, I mean, probably from the age of 12, I just had already fallen in love with it to such a degree that it just never occurred to me that I would do something else.
That's great. Are your family musicians?
Nope. My father is a rocket scientist. And my mother was a biochemist. So my mother grew up in Iowa, Minnesota, Iowa, and grew up on a farm. And so they had a lot of like, you know, choral stuff at church, and she did play the piano. So she was the one who got my sister and me, you know, into music at a very early age. My dad is from Brooklyn, you know, from Carroll Street, before it was gentrified, way long before it was gentrified. And, you know, from a kind of typical poor Irish family. He was the first generation born in America. So for him, it was like the American dream, you know, for his kids to be able to like study classical music was like the height of culture, and something that he, you know, just didn't really have access to in his more like hard scrabble life, if you will. But, you know, he still talks about concerts he saw like Oscar Shumsky or something. You know, he really like knew a lot about classical music just from listening to the radio in Philly and stuff, and was a very smart man who, you know, liked to better himself and still does to this day at age 94.
Yeah. God bless. So tell us a little bit about your current you know, situation where you are, how many students you have. Tell us a little bit about your campus, anything that you could share.
Well, let me show you this campus. Whoops. Well, okay, I don't want to break the video thing here, but it's a very beautiful campus. And as we were mentioning before, when we first got on, it's in Boca Raton, Florida, which is in between West Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale. So it's about, well, with no traffic, an hour and a half from Miami. North.
It's beautiful. I actually been there, but not on your campus. Yeah.
Okay, well, you'll have to come. You'll have to come someday. It is a very beautiful, lush and green place, and there are iguanas running around sometimes, and lots of little lizards and things. So it's very Florida. Right now I have 5 students, a very small class. I was hired late in the last spring, and just inherited, you know, all of these wonderful students who have been running around playing viola. This is an extremely small program at Lynn University Conservatory. So, you know, I really don't have to have more than 10 students. It's all free. So we have 3 degrees. We have undergraduate, graduate, and PPC, which is the performance certificate program, and they're all free tuition.
Amazing.
So it's kind of a, you know, exclusive. It's probably one of like 4 programs in the country that are free, right? Like Curtis, Colburn, us, and Yale for masters, right? But not for undergrad.
Yeah.
So it's a very special place, and I am just like constantly amazed every week, like with the support of the dean, and you know, the students need strings, they just send the bill to the dean. They need their bow rehaired, they send the bill to the dean. It's like I've never seen a place that was so supportive, bending over backwards to make sure that the students have what they need, and you know, get to continue to the next level.
Sounds great. Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to move to your picture gallery, and as Josh shares your pictures, you're going to just tell us a little bit about each one.
Okay, I don't remember which pictures, but we'll see. I don't know what I picked. Oh. Okay, that is in China at the Tianjin Juilliard School, where I worked for the past 3 years, and these are some of my amazing colleagues. This is Gergely Ittish on the left here, from Budapest, and this is Kyung-hee Sung, who is, well, actually now she lives in Montreal, but she's a Curtis grad. And so anyway, we had people coming together from all over the world for this faculty, and we played a ton of concerts because there was a Tianjin Juilliard ensemble. And this was Debussy Trio that we played. And anyway, it was just, you can kind of get the idea how big the halls are, you know, like thousands of people and very high ceilings and so on. So this was actually, I believe, at the new concert hall that they built for the Tianjin Juilliard School, one of the halls on campus.
Right.
That was after my recital. So for that Clark that I played, that was my own personal recital, and I was the person on faculty who said, look, we need actually a faculty recital series at Tianjin Juilliard. So if you can see the lobby in back of me there, it's just a phenomenal building that the Chinese government built for the Tianjin Juilliard School. And, you know, it was just kind of incredible. I mean, you have these little kids and the fathers and just random people from the community who would come, and they all wanted, you know, your signature after a concert. They were all just like big fans of Tianjin Juilliard, and we just like had so many people coming to all the concerts. It was always packed.
Amazing.
Kind of a nice situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So this was during our year of recruiting. I can't remember, this was either in Beijing or maybe in Qingdao, but and this is Melissa. She works now for Manhattan School of Music in the white, the only person wearing a white shirt in this picture. She's an administrator at Manhattan School of Music now. And this is Guillaume Sutre, who's a wonderful violinist who was in the Isaïe string quartet as the first violinist. So these were all colleagues of ours with you know, a bunch of students. We would go and play at these Steinway and Sons showrooms all over China and get the word out about the school. So it was always nice to connect with the students. This girl does not look Chinese, but Chinese. Ah, well, this is my dog Zora. She is a 95. Now she looks slender in this one, but she's 95 pounds, and she's a husky Malamute mix. And this is actually near my parents' house outside of Philadelphia on the main line. We take her when I go to visit my parents, who are 93 and 94 years of age, and they still live at home and pretty much take care of themselves, which is kind of incredible to me. But we take the dog to the local like park, and they have a bunch of donkeys and goats who live in this pen. Unfortunately, you can't see them right now, but Zora is always very eager to try and get in there, and she keeps nipping at them and stuff. But so, oh, and she's wearing green for St. Patrick's Day. Look at that.
I know.
Apropos. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so in the fall, you know, I love rhubarb, and I also love
It's my favorite pie.
Oh my gosh, Vera, really
pie.
have to get together. And my next favorite thing is something that, you know, my dad used to grow when I was a kid, gooseberries. And I mean,
We have them in Russia.
I know you guys have all the great stuff, and the Americans, you know, it's all too sour for the Americans, but we had gooseberry bushes, you know, so we would pick them off and always have a gooseberry pie and always have rhubarb pies, because my mother would grow rhubarb. But in Florida, you know, rhubarb grows in the fall, like through the winter, which is not, I don't think it's the season up north. But so I went to the store and found this rhubarb, and I had always said, you know what would be a great pie would be if you combine the gooseberry and the rhubarb, which, have you ever heard of a pie like that?
No.
It's fabulous. I highly recommend it. This is a compote. You can see it's, maybe you can tell, it's Polish. And I found it in a local store, an international store that had many, many wonderful Polish items. But so this is, I took the pie crust, it's a double pie crust, and made a C clef, a Viola C clef here. So that's my Viola rhubarb gooseberry pie.
So that should be a staple now to all violas, no?
Personally, I think so. I mean, I thought it was a great tasting pie myself. You would like it, Vera.
I'm sure I would, yeah. Fabulous. All right.
Oh, okay. So this is my CD, which is coming out very soon. I am just waiting on the program notes from Ben Rowe, who is the CEO of the Heifetz Institute, which is, you know, a very high-powered summer music festival program that now goes on throughout the year. I'm just always amazed at what he's doing. But he's an old friend of mine, back from when we both used to work in North Carolina. And this is the cover. And the back is going to have a fox with their head in the snow. But this has been a long project with one of my dearest friends and colleagues, Julie Nishimura, who is a beautiful pianist. And I transcribed Prokofiev Cello Sonata, the first time it's ever been done. for viola and piano. And then Andrea Clearfield, who was based in Philadelphia, who's a beautiful composer. She has a piece called Convergence, which, you know, I wanted to put on here. And then Rockberg Sonata is also, you know, a composer who has Philadelphia Curtis connections. So it's kind of a nice composite of like Philadelphia and other interests of mine that are coming together in this CD. So it should be out soon. We've been waiting on Ben. He's like extremely busy, but he writes fabulous program notes. He wrote the program notes for my last CD, which I made with my Fire Pink Trio, which is a flute, viola, harp group that we used to have for about 10 years. So I figured it was worth waiting 8 months for those program notes. They're coming soon. This was one of our trips to Korea. I have been to Korea like quite a number of times. And this is Kyung-sun Lee here, the other lady in this picture who just was hired at Indiana University. So she's an old friend of mine. And let's see, who else do we have here? Sang-jin Kim, who is kind of the one of the premier violists in all of Korea. And these are some of my colleagues from University of North Carolina School of the Arts when I taught there, Brooks Whitehouse, and Kevin Lawrence, who also ran the Green Mountain Chamber Music Festival for a very long time. And so we've had quite a number of wonderful collaborations overseas, and Kyung-sun put us up at her house for 2 weeks. And, you know, she is one of the grand dames of Korean violin, right? She taught at Seoul National for many years. And so every morning there would be a knock on the door, and a parent, usually a mother, would come carrying like bags of food that were like, you know, 4 feet long. And sometimes Kyung-sun would say, oh, well, I can't do anything with this. You're going to have to come in and cook it for us. And it's just such an amazing part of this Korean tradition, you know, that they revere their teacher so much that they knew she had house guests and would show up at the door every morning with this just generosity of spirit, and would literally slave away in the kitchen for like 2 hours making us meals for the rest of the day.
Very similar to Russian culture, actually.
I'm not surprised to hear that, Vera. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. I still have not been to Russia. It's on my list.
I can't believe after all the continents you went to.
I've been on 6 continents, and I have not been to Russia. So
well, wait, don't go now. So
no, I'll wait.
Yeah.
I'll wait, but I'm ready anytime. Okay, so this is another one of the Tianjin Juilliard pictures. This might be in Shanghai. Let's see, what piece would this be? Well, I can't remember. Maybe Dvorak. You might be right. Yeah. So this is our present CEO, who is sitting second violin here for Tianjin Juilliard Way. And the first violinist is the first violinist of the Shanghai String Quartet. Da-Shun Zhang used to teach at UT Austin for a long time. And Yeonjin Kim is, well, she was one of the 2 Korean women who were on faculty. There were actually very few women on that faculty. So there were about 3 of us there for a while out of about 30. But anyway, so we played a lot of concerts like this and went through like a ton of repertoire.
oh, that was it. Okay,
That's
great.
it.
Yeah, for now, we're going to put you on hold. We're going to move on to your students.
Great.
First is Rosa Ortega Iannelli, who is a violist, educator, and juggler from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Born to a family of artists, Rosa began music studies at home and was eventually enrolled in the prep program at the Conservatory of Music of Puerto Rico. And in 2018, Rosa completed her undergraduate studies at Temple University, where she studied with Dr. Anna Sinadze and Carrie Ryan, assistant principal violist of the Philadelphia Orchestra. Rosa has played in master classes for renowned musicians, including Roberto Diaz, Atta Arad, Karen Richter, and among many others. And as an educator, Rosa has taught with the Memphis Music Initiative, Play on Philly, Philadelphia String Project, Common Time Music School, and has worked as a teaching fellow at the Interlochen Arts Camp. Rosa is a 2018-19 alumni of the Iris Orchestra Artist Fellows Program, during which time she spent a year in Memphis, Tennessee, teaching at local elementary schools, performing outreach concerts, and working closely with the world-class musicians of the Iris Orchestra. Rosa is a student of Sheila Browne at Lynn Conservatory and is pursuing her Master of Music degree. And she's a member of the Palm Beach Symphony and the International Chamber Orchestra of Puerto Rico. And recent accomplishments include participation in the 2023 Carantatal Workshop, performances in Lynn University's New Music Festival, and performing in the Miami Chamber Music Society Mendelssohn Octet Masterclass with Joshua Bell. And the string quartet was one of the winners in the 2021 Lynn Chamber Music Competition. Welcome you, Rosa. And
Thank you very much.
We forgot to feature your picture. Can we please put Rosa's picture on the screen, as we usually do when I go through the bio? Beautiful. Lovely meeting you. So we're going to continue by featuring Rosa's first video, which is Dahrani Piano Quintet. And this is a Sapphire quintet that's performing it. Take a look. Beautiful. We're going to get back to you, Rosa, very shortly. First, let me introduce Daniel. Daniel is a violist and violinist. Can we please have his picture Thank you. Daniel Guevara has performed in orchestras conducted by world-renowned musicians such as Michael Tilson Thomas, Gerard Schwartz, Marin Alsop, and Giancarlo Guerrero. He currently serves as a section violinist of the Brevard Symphony Orchestra. His orchestral experience includes the Palm Beach Symphony Orchestra, Orlando Philharmonic Orchestra, and the National Youth Orchestra USA and the Lynn Philharmonia. Daniel began his violin studies at the age of 8 with Yevgeny Sapochnikov and Dmitry Petukhov. You have to tell me a little bit your Russian teachers at the Conservatory Antonio Maria Valencia in his native town, Santiago de Cali, Colombia. In 2012, Guevara continued his musical studies in Miami, USA at the New World School of the Arts under Professor Hu Fang Chen. And as an active chamber musician, Daniel has performed with 2 award-winning chamber groups, the Gallant String Quartet in 2019-20 season and the Cordisma Quartet in 21-22 season as second prize and first prize winners, respectively, of the Lynn Conservatory Chamber Music Competition. He has performed in chamber music workshops side by side with renowned violinist Joshua Bell. Daniel's passion for music has led him to be involved with music outside the stage. He was a violin mentor to the Plumosa School of the Arts Elementary After School Program, Volta Music Foundation, and Nat King Cole Foundation during the summer. In addition to performing, Daniel has composed different works, including Rhapsody for Violin Solo, Piano Quintet No. 1, and Bewildering for bass clarinet solo. Sounds great. Daniel received his Bachelor of Music degree in violin performance at Lynn Conservatory of Music, where he studied with Professor Carol Cole and is currently in the Masters of Music degree program in viola performance at Lynn Conservatory of Music, where he is under Professor Sheila Browne. Welcome, Daniel. We're going to proceed with your first video, which is Lament for 2 Violas by Frank Bridge, where you perform with Sheila Browne. Beautiful. Wonderful. Next in our agenda is a dialogue between Rosa, Daniel, and myself. So we've sent them both questions, and I'm going to proceed with them right now. Okay. First of all, welcome again, Rosa and Daniel, to our live broadcast. So here's question number one. Share your proudest musical accomplishment. Let's start with Rosa.
Okay, so I'm lucky to have had many great experiences with music, but I feel that the one I'm most proudest is actually upcoming. I'll be graduating from my master's degree here at Lynn in May, in less than a month, like about a month and maybe a couple weeks. And honestly, I'm just really proud of myself for making it this far. No one else in my family has a master's degree, so it just feels like a really big accomplishment.
Fantastic, congratulations. Daniel.
Yes, so for me, I have a few experiences, but one biggest accomplishment right now, it was recently last year when I did a competition, and it was my first time doing a competition as a violist. And it was actually the first time that I get to place into the finals, and then I placed as one of the winners, third place. So it felt really, really good. I feel like I made the right choice of switching from violin to viola, and that, I'm taking my career path, into a better path.
Tell them about Jerry Schwartz and the
Right. So this was through the Palm Beach
competition.
Symphony Orchestra, and they were doing a competition. It's a scholarship competition, and we had only people from South Florida applying into that, and it was 6 finalists and 3 prizes. And yeah, the Jerry Schwartz is the conductor of the Palm Beach Symphony Orchestra. But yeah, it was very nice, and also I'm very thankful with Professor Sheila Browne, because she changed a lot of things even at the last minute, but I think they made a difference, and it really helped. It really made a difference for all of that. So yeah,
He played great.
Wonderful. Next question. Who are your favorite performers? Not necessarily violist. Rosa.
It's hard to choose just one, because I feel like I listen to so many different types of music and I'm constantly discovering new music that I like. But I would like to share that one of my most recent inspirational performers has been our professor, Sheila Browne. It's very inspiring to, and I swear I'm not trying to suck up to my teacher, but very recently she performed the York Bowen Viola Sonata on a faculty concert here at Lynn Conservatory. And it was just such a moving and powerful performance that it just inspired me so much. So
wonderful.
That's very sweet of you, Rosa. You get an A plus.
Oh, thanks.
Daniel.
Well, I want an A plus too, so I will say but in addition to Professor Sheila, I think I follow quite a few. I have Pinchas Zuckerman, James Ennis, and I like it because they're both violinists and violists, and I really enjoy how they both play. I enjoy Hilary Hahn a lot, and Janine Jansen, one of my favorites. Her performance is very, very fire. I just think about fire. But that's some of them that I can think right now. Yeah.
Great. Next question. With our lives becoming more busy and chaotic than ever, how do you slow down and find the motivation to practice and play music? Rosa.
I just try to remind myself that it's something that I really love doing, and that going through the hard work is what's going to make the performance pay off much more in the end. I'm going to be able to enjoy a performance much more if I sit down and do the work and make sure I feel the most prepared as possible. So I remind myself in those times when I'm I don't really want to practice, that, well, I have to sit down and I work through it, and then it just becomes the joy of performance eventually.
Very smart. Daniel.
Yeah, it gets very, very busy and crazy, but what I like to do sometimes to keep motivation is also putting deadlines, and that kind of stress of deadlines kind of helps me stay on track. That's one way that I motivate. Sometimes I also like to play non-classical music in my instrument. I mean, I'm from Colombia, so I play folk, traditional Colombian music, and other genres, jazz, or improvise sometimes, just to keep a fresh mind, and also enjoy the instrument, and thinking, why did I decide to continue in this career.
Wonderful, you guys. Okay, next question. What career choices inspire you the most? Let's change the order. Daniel.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Yeah, what career choices inspire you?
Oh, yeah. So right now I'm focusing on working towards orchestral and chamber music. And orchestral, I'm auditioning for the New York Symphony here in Miami Beach. And chamber music, these last 2 years have been a drastic change. I have been more focused on that because with my quartet, we won twice in a row the competition, and a lot of opportunities and little things have been opening up in New York, in different places. And it was not something that I was looking forward to, but I'm more interested now. I don't think I'm interested in a solo career, but I enjoy playing more chamber music with people where I have a solo part, yes, but it's more involved with another group, different people, and we get to share different ideas, and I really enjoy performing with my quartet. And orchestra has always been in my mind.
Wonderful. Rosa.
So I definitely feel myself drawn to a career as an orchestral musician, especially recently. I feel like I go back and forth. I feel like I want to do a little bit of everything, but eventually I have to kind of bring a focus. And so my mom's a musician. I grew up watching her play in the Puerto Rico Symphony my whole childhood. So I feel like there's definitely a connection to that's something I would aspire to do. Find whether it's just one ensemble that I work with that provides me everything I need, or whether it's working with multiple ensembles and traveling around a lot. Just orchestral playing is what I'm drawn to. And controversially, I like working on excerpts. Some people find them to be a pain, but me personally, I don't know, there's something satisfying about doing that work.
Wonderful. And the last question, share your other interests and hobbies. Rosa.
So I like juggling. As a kid, me and my siblings started learning juggling from a friend of ours, and we used that to pass the time. We busked together with our friends, and so that's something that I kind of keep and do now mostly for fun, just occasionally. Whereas when I was younger, I used to do it a lot more seriously.
What do you juggle?
Balls, rings. I like to do this form of flow juggling, which is called poi, which is like these balls on the end of strings and kind of swing them around. You can light them on fire. All very exciting and fun stuff.
Cool.
I should have sent the video of me fire juggling.
Yeah, wow. Where's that video?
I'll send it next time.
Daniel.
I love that here at Lynn, we have made a tradition that every Sunday we play soccer, and it's only the conservatory people. So none of us are professionals, or we kind of suck, but but we have fun, and that's one of my main things. I enjoy soccer. I watch the World Cup and other soccer games, so we play every Sunday. I like to go hiking when I get the chance. I have been to the Grand Canyon and Yosemite.
Yeah, Yosemite. Yeah.
And I have a bucket list to where to go. The beach is right here, so I try to go often. And I like technology a lot, so I kind of like sometimes get into coding, and I'm like IT guy, so I know how to fix little things.
He's the IT guy around here. Yeah.
And I love video games too. I have a PS5, so I spend my time there too.
Wonderful. Great to meet you guys. We're now going to move to Rosa's picture gallery, please. And just like Sheila, you want to talk about each picture.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. That's a picture of me. It was taken by one of my housemates. This was right during, towards the end of my time in Philadelphia. Behind me is a piece of art from another friend of ours made that art piece. I can't remember if which friend it was, but yeah, that was towards the end of my time in Philadelphia. So it was a very special time for me.
Great.
That's me and my family. My mom is on the far left. She's as I mentioned before, she's a professional cellist. She worked in the Puerto Rico Symphony. She was assistant principal of the Puerto Rico Symphony for many years. And she just retired this last fall. So that was a whole change in her life. I'm in the middle right next to her above my brother, who is in the front. His name is Louis. Next to me is my younger sister, Angie. And at the far end with another cello is my oldest sibling, Shanti.
Wow, great.
And I believe that photo was taken for like, there was a little newspaper write-up about my mom and how she was raising us playing music and all that kind of sweet stuff. That was years ago. That is one of my favorite pictures ever of my string piano quintet. We got together last semester. Actually, the video you played is of us performing at the Friends of the Conservatory concert here at Lynn. And yeah, we kind of sponsored, we were taking photos with the other musicians who were playing on this Friends of the Conservatory concert. When we were done doing those official photos for the program, we were like, oh, let's just take a group photo, just the 5 of us, great. And so we stepped outside, a friend took a picture and it turned out beautiful, iconic, like all the blues. I love that picture and I love my time playing with these friends. That's a picture of me. That's right before I came to Lynn. I had been living back in Puerto Rico during the pandemic shutdown. This kind of an artsy photo shoot I did with another friend of mine. While I was in Puerto Rico, I was playing a lot of non-classical music, just kind of improvising with a friend of mine, Warren Santiago, who plays like rock and indie rock kind of stuff, experimental stuff. And so we had this idea that we were going to take pictures for our next project, though that project is yet to materialize. Hopefully it will sometime soon. That is a photo of me performing this last summer in Fresno, California. I attended this festival called the Fresno Orchestral Summer Academy, run by at the State University campus in Fresno. And I believe I was playing Rebecca Clark's sonata there, which is the piece we heard Professor Browne playing earlier. It's one of my favorite pieces as well. So yeah. That's me and Daniel with our esteemed professor and section leader of the Palm Beach Symphony Viola section, Chauncey Patterson. I believe that was the first concert we played this season. I've had or both of us have had the pleasure to play with Palm Beach for the entirety of this season. We actually just had our latest performance this past Tuesday, which was a great experience, as all of them have been. And that is a photo after our Mendelssohn Octet masterclass with Joshua Bell. There he is in the middle. You'll recognize Daniel right next to me. And all these other students also were our colleagues here at Lynn. Several of them are still here studying. A couple of them have already graduated and moved on to bigger things. That was last year, I think last spring sometime. And that is a photo of the entire viola studio here at Lynn after our viola studio recital, which happened this last fall.
Beautiful. And next we're going to play Rosa's second video, which is a Hindemith, der Schwanendreher. I hope I said that right. Take a listen. Wonderful, Rosa. Lovely meeting you. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to move on to Daniel Picture Gallery.
Good picture.
Okay, so this picture is actually during the competition, the Palm Beach competition that I was talking about. That was the final round. And in the back, you cannot see her much, but it's Dr. Sheng Wen Kwan. And yeah, that was just a picture of the final round. And that's a picture that she was there. And that was after getting the award. Cute.
Beautiful.
And that's all the winners. In the middle, Benjamin. He's an amazing violinist. And second place on the right side, that's Joya Gedix. She's actually the first violinist of the quartet that I play. We are the Cordisma Quartet.
Oh, and mention who they study with also.
Oh yeah,
People
so
on faculty.
Joya studies with Guillermo Figueroa, and Benjamin studies with Omar Oliveira.
Beautiful.
And this is also a picture of the Palm Beach Symphony, the viola section.
Nice.
And as you can see Rosa over there, and there's Chauncey, he's the principal, and you know, that's just all of us.
Beautiful hall.
Yeah, that's the Kravis Center. It's
West
beautiful.
Palm Beach.
In West Palm Beach, yeah. And this is a picture of the quartet, the Cordisma Quartet. So you see Joy again, that's me, and then in the middle is Victoria, and the cello is Megan Savage.
And this is the group that's playing in New York, right?
Yes, so we're gonna be performing in New York in May 1st. I sent you the link, so you can check the tickets and all that. But it's in the
Kosciuszko Foundation.
Kosciuszko. Mhm.
Vera knows how to pronounce
This
it.
is how I pronounce all the
Okay.
Spanish
Yeah.
names. Yes. Next. Mhm.
Oh, this was a master class with the principal of the Philadelphia Orchestra, and we were working CJ
Chang.
Chen, and we were working on excerpts right before my audition for New York Symphony, and it was very helpful. Changed a lot of things, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Great class.
And this is again a picture with a quartet. We were dressed differently because we were playing with the orchestra. It's called the Gingerbread Concert. It was during Christmas, and it's basically a fundraising concert.
Yes.
Yeah, for the school. Sorry, my English is.
Your English is great. No worries.
Oh, and this is a picture again. Almost the entire quartet, but the different person there is Rubit. She's a Venezuelan violinist, and we're actually living a studio, recording studio. We're doing a recording for a pop song, so nothing classical. Just they wanted some strings for a little different song. Yeah,
Was that in Miami?
it's in Miami. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, and now we're going to present Daniel's second video, which is well, it's clarinet sonata, but it's a viola version of the Brahms E flat major sonata. Take a look. Wonderful. Great meeting you as well, Daniel, as well as Rosa. And we're going to close this broadcast with a second video from Sheila, which is George Rockberg Sonata for viola and piano. Take a look. Fantastic. I thank so much, Sheila, for joining us today. Really had so much fun speaking with you.
Likewise.
And
Well, thank you,
you're
Vera.
delightful students. We wish you all the best in all your future endeavors, and hopefully we will meet soon when you come to New York. And we'll obviously post all the video links, and we'll post bios and the link that you'd like to promote about your upcoming event in the comments on Facebook. And that's it. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching, and till next time. So long.
Thank you, Vera. It was a lot of
Thank
fun.
you.
Thank you so
Wonderful
much.
to see you.
Nice.